The legend that Tim Welch is has led to this video because he got Ariel Helwani as a guest on a show not too long ago and asked him about MMA Guru, something that whenever I feel like it comes up, Ariel gets a little uncomfortable. He gives this smile and he talks about it, and he's willing to talk about it now. I think for a while he was refusing to mention MMA Guru's name, but he addressed it and he really missed it, man. He really missed the crux of why there is negativity spewed from MMA Guru on behalf of Ariel Helwani. So I'm going to clear it up and I'm going to talk about this entire discussion, what Ariel says, and I think how it's intentionally ignorant of the real reasons why MMA Guru doesn't like him. But anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA show. So we're going to start off with this clip here. And I love it when Ariel is actually the guest. He's the one being interviewed. I always find it very interesting. And don't get it twisted. I'm not making this video because I'm an Ariel hater. I'm actually a huge Ariel fan. The name of our channel, 10-7 MMA, is from Ariel Helwani, the famous 10-7 victories or defeats, you could say, that he doles out to people, Brendan Schaub, namely, amongst other people when they get into online beefs with Ariel Helwani. So that is where the show name, the YouTube channel name, comes from. I'm a big fan of Ariel's show. I love to watch his interviews. I was watching him interview Ilia Topuria today. Nobody does it better in the business. But like us all, Ariel has his moments of, he has his issues. He has his things that he does that maybe are not always correct, but we all do that. We all have little biases or things that we do that maybe aren't all above board. And this is Ariel's thing, right? What the reason why MMA Guru doesn't like him is because of these little kind of, some people call it wormy. If he doesn't like a fighter and he wants to basically run them through the mud, he'll do it, and he'll do it in. He's smart, he'll do it somewhat in an indirect way, but he's done it to fighters like Jamahal Hill, to Dricus du Plessis, and this is what MMA Guru has called out time and again. Anyways, I digress. Let's jump into the mix right now. Where I want to hear it. We're going to hear Ariel's statements on MMA Guru. Tim Welch kind of forced him to talk about it. I'm sure Ariel didn't want to talk about it or didn't want to bring him up. And then we're going to go to some statements from MMA Guru. So we're going to clarify this entire situation. But once again, man, as much as I'm a fan of Ariel, I think like these little things that he does, these little flaws that MMA Guru or other people point out, he just never, ever wants to acknowledge them. Like, look, we're all imperfect. We all have flaws, but he just, well, you'll see it in this clip. He's like, I don't understand why he comes after me. It makes no sense why he wants to hate me. He doesn't need to do that. But it's not, I don't even think he hates him. He's just pointing out something that Ariel seems to do a lot and seems to get away with because nobody else really calls him out with as big a platform as MMA Guru and as eloquently as MMA Guru is capable of doing. So anyways, let's get into the clip and then we'll move ahead to MMA Guru's rebuttal, or not even a rebuttal, but basically statements as to why he truly has gone after Ariel.
So you're saying a pod with you or a show with you and Guru will never happen?
I love the fact that you always bring this up. Here's the truth. I have a lot, like, people say to me like, oh, you're the establishment. I'm not the.
It's funny because it's a deflection. He's basically trying to say, and I have to believe he actually knows why MMA Guru comes after him. I'd be shocked if he didn't, but he's trying to act like MMA Guru comes after him because he's the establishment. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the, you could call unjust or unfair treatment of certain fighters that he wants to go after, like DDP, like Jamahal Hill, and the games he plays with words as gaslighting. And he'll do it, and he'll basically, when he's going back and forth with people, he'll pin them down and twist their words a little bit because he can do that, because that's what he is. He's a wordsmith. He's an interviewer. He speaks all the time. That's where he has the edge over fighters. But anyways, he's trying to say that, oh, it's just because I don't get it. I'm the establishment, but I'm not really the establishment. So I don't know why he's coming after me. But it's like, that's a deflection. That's not why. But we'll listen to a little bit more, and then we'll hear from MMA Guru.
Establishment, man. I literally started on a computer, going on the internet, sending messages to people on MySpace, begging them to come on, getting cameramen in from local areas to come do interviews. I'm in Stockton, California for Elite XC, interviewing Nick Diaz with a guy that I just met, a cameraman. Like, there's nothing establishment about me. It's just that I've been around a little bit longer. I've had a lot of trials and tribulations. So I respect anyone who grinds. I respect anyone who says, like, F everyone else. I'm going to make a name for myself. So I have a lot of respect. You can even ask the guys who work with me, and what we talk about in the control room before the show or while we're eating lunch. Like, I have respect for people who grind, and he is a grinder. So there's no real beef here. If anything, like, the part that was weird to me was, what's your beef with me? Like, what did I ever do to you? You know what I mean? And I don't know if that comes from a good place, a bad place, but like, the way I found out about him was he was talking.
I'd say it comes from a neutral place. I don't think it's that he dislikes him or he did anything to him. The way that MMA Guru feels, and you're going to see this in a second from his own mouth, is that he feels like you do certain things that are untoward, and he feels as though if he didn't call you out, nobody would call you out. That's it. And I don't think he's building a name coming after you, as you're going to kind of go on to say, like, hey, why are you building a name coming after me? Or you don't need to do that. It wasn't that. And maybe it did build his name, though. I'm sure it did. But he felt like he was doing something morally just in the same way that you feel a calling to a lot of times call out the UFC or stand up for fighters that are getting mistreated. Same exact thing.
Talking so much shit about me. And so it's like, all right, if that's the way you want to make a name for yourself, great. But, you know, he doesn't need me. He doesn't need me to be his foil or to be his enemy to have success, clearly. So all to say, like, I'm not trying to do a show with anyone at this point, but I don't have, the beef was one-sided. And it wasn't on my end.
Definitely not how he made his name. I want to put that out there. And I am a fan of MMA Guru. He's even come after me in the chat before. So it's not like, you know, but we have to call a spade a spade. The way that he's gotten big is not because of some of his videos on Ariel have gone pretty viral, but it's his consistency. It's his knowledge base. He's super educated on fighting, and he's actually educated almost like he's a fighter. You can see that when he goes on Demetrius Johnson's podcast, when they talk about fighting and breakdowns and strategies. He is so tuned in, which is really remarkable, because like I don't think I could ever have that level of expertise and knowledge. I'd have to dive in to such a degree that, I mean, I don't think it's possible. But the only people that I see have that type of knowledge and expertise about fighting and breaking down fights are fighters like Justin or other people that are extreme couture or coaches. So it's really amazing what he's been able to pull off. And he's funny and he's a workhorse, you know, a combination of things. He's not building a name off of Ariel or any one particular person, not even off of John Jones, despite the amount of content he's made about John Jones. Now we're going to hear MMA Guru not even respond, but this is the real reason. This is the real deal. So don't get it twisted. Don't think, and is Ariel doing this on purpose or is he truly ignorant? I don't know. But this is really why MMA Guru has an issue with Ariel. It's not personal. It's about the way he treats certain fighters.
Thank you for the $5. What did Ariel do? He fucking race baited Dricus. He made Dricus out to be a racist in the build-up of the Adesanya fight. Dricus had to beat Adesanya for that all to go away. Notice how there's none of those when racists get knocked out montages. He tried to paint out Dricus as that and like spin that into that, put words in his mouth. He did the same thing to Jamahal Hill. He tried to make him an advocate for domestic violence against women. After he just won the belt. I spoke with Jamahal Hill about this on the channel, on the interview as well. Ariel's a worm, man. He's a wormy guy. I don't know. I'm not. Now I've made it on YouTube. Now I have to be cool with him and smooth things over. He still did all of that. He's an adult. He's not a young kid that didn't know any better. He's an adult man that wouldn't have been called out upon it if I didn't do anything. I just don't get why people want me to smooth things over. My feelings aren't based on him having more viewers than me, and now I'm doing better, so I should be cool with it. I know I made the videos because I disagreed with what he was doing. He's being a bit of a worm, to say the least.
That's it. So it was his behavior in those particular instances. Now, that all to say, could they eventually smooth things over? Hey, maybe. Why not? I mean, look, we don't have to be perfect in our daily practices, in our lives, and our actions to be cool with people, right? We can make mistakes. We can do things that are untoward. Maybe we can admit them and we can apologize and we can move forward, or maybe he doesn't even have to do that. So do I think that this will we never ever see Ariel and MMA Guru on a stream together? I don't think that's the case. Maybe eventually we will see it. And I hope we do see it, because MMA Guru is a very interesting guy, and he's been on a couple podcasts and he's been interviewed, and it's very interesting to hear his story. But nobody could probably get to the heart of his story better than Ariel Helwani. Nobody can interview him better than Ariel Helwani. And I've said this several times in MMA Guru's stream, and I think that he should one day hopefully go on there if he so chooses to, if he feels comfortable after a certain point to go on there. But I think it would be an amazing synergy, especially with the back and forth and the history. And like, I think MMA Guru says, hey, yo, I don't want to go on there because I feel like Ariel will have all of my worst moments set up and ready to grill me. I don't know if it has to be like that. I don't think it has to be like that. I think they can have a little bit of banter, a little bit of back and forth. MMA Guru won't be afraid to give it to Ariel and vice versa. And they're two great MMA minds, and let them talk and let them do something together. So, and look, as much as MMA Guru and maybe other people sometimes pile on to Ariel for particular things, you have to admit that at the end of the day, he does his research. He's very ethical and moral. And yeah, he has his moments, as I'm sure we all do, but he's a human being, and it is what it is. And I think overall he's great for the sport. I think MMA Guru is great for the sport. Let's see that interview one day. It would be a huge interview. It would smash the internet and be completely separate from the UFC. They both are kind of on the outs with the UFC. Why not? Why not? Why don't we put that together? Let's go MMA Guru and Ariel Helwani synergy. I'm all for it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.